Greetings and salutations, knowledge seekers, and welcome to this video. Today I want to talk about goals, and I want to tell you why most of your goals are probably foolish, meaningless. Pursuing them is an exercise in futility, a fool's errand, if you will. And yeah, I know about my growth mindset. I know how important it is to have growth in life, yeah, for sure, and goals in life as well, right? I know how important it is to pursue something and to strive towards achieving something. And I know how effective it is to break big goals into small goals and those small goals into micro goals, and then you achieve everything, and then you achieve the nirvana, and then everything is peachy dory, right? I get all that. Let's just assume that we have a basic understanding of how goals work and what they are, and move on to a little bit more meaningful discussion aimed at understanding why some type of goals are fundamentally flawed. So what do most of your goals have in common? Do they start with the question what? So what do I want to achieve? Do I want to be successful or I don't know, rich, famous? Do you want to have a family, a great relationship with your, friends and community, and all that stuff? There's an issue with that, right? And the issue is that you are not focusing on yourself, but you're focusing on external circumstances that in a lot of occasions are beyond your control, right? You're not always in control of who likes you, how they like you, what the outcome of certain situation is. As long as you're dependent on other people, there's always a bunch of variables that you cannot control, that you cannot account for. So you never really reach the exact type of goal that you're aiming at achieving, right? Let's take a practical example. Let's say that you're one of these amazing planners and that you have 15 big goals, and then you've broken down those 15 big goals into 15 small goals, and there's a clear plan of what exactly you want to achieve by which point, and all that. So the most likely outcome in a circumstance like that is that you fail in certain situations. In certain parts of your goals you're not going to be able to reach, right? It's just completely unreasonable that you can hit every single milestone that you have set out. Yeah, but you're making progress. Yeah, but it's it's leading you somewhere. There's this grand design that wants to be accomplished, and then what happens? Let's say that eventually, let's say that maybe you don't hit the goals exactly as you're hoping for, as you wanted to, as you had in your mind. But let's say that you reach your end destination, and then you make all this amazing progress, and then you become this great individual that you're hoping to be when you set out your plan. Well, the unfortunate reality is that you're probably gonna desire new goals, right? Because once you've accomplished everything you set out to do, what sets in is boredom, and boredom is suffering. So we need a new dopamine kick. We need something to get us going, something to keep us motivated. So we start looking for something else, something new to pursue, right? And what's the meaning of that? How can that bring peace of mind and meaning to our existence when it's obvious that the end result is futility? There's no meaningful outcome to pursuing these external goals and trying to reach this type of external validations from other people. And again, things usually don't work out exactly like we want them to, and then we get disappointed, right? Because if we are honest with ourselves, like if we really look at whatever type of goal, right? Let's say that you want to be successful professionally. Do you want that? Like, do you really need that, or do you just kind of want it? Like, is it just something that it's nice to have? I would like to work towards it, but maybe I'm not gonna apply myself all the way, right? Because let me tell you something. So let's say that let's use a very disproportionate example to the current discussion in order to prove a point, right? Let's look at a situation in which you've been hungry for a couple of days. Let's imagine that scenario, and then what's the only thought that you have in your mind if you haven't eaten food for 2 days? Probably you want to eat food, right? And it's not you're not making a plan of how you're going to divide that into like small bites and how many bites you're going to eat. Like you say, oh, maybe I can just have like one pea or like one mushroom or like one bite of steak, and then maybe I can have another bite. And then, I divide it all up, and then it's like 15, 20 different bites, and then eventually I've eaten the whole steak, right? You want food, you want it now, and you want it until you feel full, right? That's the goal. There's no like, oh, but I need a little bit of it in order to keep myself motivated so I can continue eating. That's that's how it should be with your goals, ideally, in order to achieve them, right? But that's never the case. There's always so many distractions. There's so many things up in the air that stop you from achieving exactly what you want to achieve. That cloud your judgments, that occupy your mind, that set your attention in a different direction, that makes you deviate from your goal. And I think that's natural. I think that's unavoidable, as long as the goals that we set for ourselves are external. So if your goals start with the question, who do I want to be, instead of what do I need to do in order to impress somebody else to get to a place where I want to be, if you focus on yourself and look internally, ask yourself the question again, who do I want to be? That's much easier to pursue at all times, right? Because you're always with yourself. You're always acting from a position of what's in the best interest of me, of my personal growth in that particular instance. It's not related to what other people think about you. It's not related to, somebody giving you a promotion or somebody seeing your talent, if you're an actor or a singer or whatever. It's you. So what do you do to achieve that goal? The focus, the mirror is always pointed at you, right? And if you do that, then everything else in your life will kind of have to fit in where it gets in. You have to find a way to make the necessary sacrifice in order to achieve the set objective, right? Because different objectives require different types of sacrifices, require different type of personal development. Like if you want to be good at your craft, if you want to be good at your profession, let's say you're working in business, right? You want to be a successful businessman, you want to start your own company, you want to be financially independent, all those very important goals in life for a lot of people. That requires certain type of sacrifices, right? That means that you probably have to go out and you have to meet people and you have to develop this kind of outgoing, upbeat persona where you interact with everybody else in your surrounding. Then you have to understand what people want, how to sell to them, how to manage them, how to set expectations so that everybody in the team, once you have a team, is on the same page, that everybody is rowing in the same direction, pulling the boat, towards the same longer term objective. Same if you want to be like a doctor or, I don't know, an athlete or whatever. You need to develop certain qualities within yourself. Like if you're a doctor, obviously you need to have great skills with your patient, or if you're doing some kind of research, then you need to be super dedicated, you need to be super detail-oriented, you need to spend a lot of time reading books, extracting the most relevant information for you, whatever the case may be. But that requires certain type of sacrifices, right? You can't, whilst you're an amazing researcher, you can't also probably be as good with other people as you would be if you spend a lot of time with other people, because you just want to have enough time to practice with them, right? Or then if you want to be a movie star, or if you want to be famous, whatever, you want to be an influencer, let's say, which in itself is, I don't know, I think it's a stupid goal, because it's not about you influencing necessarily. It's about you expressing yourself in a way that brings value to other people, right? That's a little bit more meaningful, but tomato, tomato. Let's say that you want to be an influencer. And so what do you need to do in order to achieve that? Well, probably you're going to have to spend a lot of time doing video edits. You're going to spend, depending on what kind of influencer you want to be, maybe you're going to have to spend some time traveling, some time away from your family. If you want to work with movies, then, or singing or be part of a band. That requires certain type of sacrifices that take you away from your normal life and put you in a completely different environment, right? But that would be meaningful if that's the kind of person that you want to develop into. Or if you want to be a good parent, then you need to develop empathy with your kids. You need to develop, a good rapport with your significant other. You need to have an understanding with each other. You need to understand what your priorities are. You need to sacrifice certain aspects of your professional life because you're just not going to have the time and energy to be like the sun and shine on everything that's around you. But as long as you have that understanding, again, as long as that's part of your mental process when you're engaging in that kind of goal setting, as long as you're clear with yourself what you want to be, what you want to accomplish within yourself, then everything else in your life will kind of have to fit into place, and then you set the priorities in accordance with the type of person that you want to be. And that makes a lot more sense than doing it the other way around, right? Instead of focusing on what's external to you and trying to tailor your personality in order to achieve the external goals, the external validation that you require, it's much more reasonable to set expectations upon yourself and then make everything else in your life fit that mold. Because then even if you fail, let's say that you don't achieve that specific goal that you have, right, of becoming rich and famous, whatever, then at least you have made the necessary step to become the person that could be rich and famous. So maybe you went out of your comfort zone. Maybe you met a bunch of people. Maybe you did some traveling. Maybe you spent some time alone. Maybe you discovered something about yourself that you didn't know that you're going to discover when that journey started. And if the goal is personal improvement, if the goal is to enrich yourself, then you've already accomplished that, right? So failure in that sense does not exist as long as you're trying to better yourself and to become a better version of yourself. Thank you guys for watching. That'll be all for this one. I hope you found this information useful. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.